Good morning, Malacanang Press Corps and guests. Welcome to regular press briefing. The presidential spokesperson, Ernesto Abella. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Rocky. We're fortunate today to have the Department of Foreign Affairs spokesperson, Robespierre Bolivar, and the National Capital Region Police Office, NCRPO Regional Director, Police Director Oscar de Albial. They will be joining us in just a few minutes. And we also have with us today the Japanese Deputy Head of Mission. He will be introduced to us by spokes Robespierre. Ladies and gentlemen of the Malacanang Press Corps, let's all give a welcome to our distinguished guests. Sir?
Good morning po, Sec. Abella. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. This is my first time in your new press briefing room. So, gumanda na siya. Gumanda na. So as all of you know, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte will undertake a working visit to Japan on 29 to 31 October 2017. This is the President's second visit to Japan and is an evidence of the strong and deep bonds between the Philippines and Japan. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe himself will make a second visit to the Philippines in about 2 weeks' time to attend the 31st ASEAN Summit and related meetings. On this visit to Tokyo, the President will discuss with Japanese Prime Minister Abe matters of mutual interest to both countries. He is also scheduled to meet other high-ranking Japanese government officials and influential captains of industry. We note that the Philippines and Japan's interests converge on many points in the political, economic, socio-cultural, and people-to-people fronts, and we are committed to further strengthening our cooperation on these many areas in the bilateral, regional, and UN levels. Aside from bilateral issues in the economic, industrial, social, and security arena, discussions are also expected to include regional developments, including peace and stability in the region, particularly in the Korean Peninsula. Both sides are also expected to engage in dialogue relative to the Philippine chairmanship of ASEAN. It is now my distinct pleasure to give the floor to my dear colleague, Deputy Chief of Mission Takehiro Kano of the Embassy of Japan in Manila. He has been here for 2 months and just transferred from their mission to the United Nations in Vienna. Kano-san.
Thank you very much, Spokesperson Abella and then Mr. Robespierre of the DFA for giving me this great opportunity to join this Malacanang press briefing room after just 2 months since I came here. As I think Mr. Robespierre already touched upon the facts of the President's upcoming visits. This is the second time. I'd rather touch upon some additional information. Although I cannot enter into the details, given that I cannot enter the prejudge, the details of the two leaders. But as Mr. Robespierre said, that this is the second visit since President Duterte took office. And also, this is the fourth summit meeting between Prime Minister Abe and President. The other details will be still being worked out. Then, actually, this is the first offshore job of our new ambassador here, Ambassador Haneda, who just arrived 10 days ago, and then he has just presented his the credentials to President Duterte yesterday, and he's now back in Tokyo preparing for receiving the president. Japan and the Philippines share the common values such as freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. So our bilateral relationship is robust across different administrations, as represented by the most importantly, the visit last January of their Majesties Emperor and Empress to Japan. This President's visit would build upon the past achievement, build upon further the enhancement of the cooperation for the peace and stability of the region as strategic partners. Particularly, this President visit is timely because President will host the ASEAN-related meetings, Leaders Summit, where Prime Minister Abe will also join. But before that important event, the two leaders would get together in Tokyo to discuss various issues related to the peace and stability of the region and the international community, including the nuclear issues of the DPRK. In the past, the two leaders have discussed various pillars, such as the economic infrastructure development, Mindanao support to the Mindanao peace process, anti-illegal drugs measures, and the security and counterterrorism measures. And actually, some of in some of those areas were already the concrete cooperations are on the way. And then, as I said at the outset, I cannot prejudge the details or outcomes of the two-leader summit next week. But we would expect that, building upon the past talks, some of the concrete projects or cooperation would be forthcoming. For example, the economic infrastructure development, Prime Minister Abe have pledged 1 trillion yen's private and partner commitment for the next 5 years when he visited the Philippines earlier this year. And then since then, 3 rounds of cabinet minister levels joint committee of infrastructure development have been held. Based upon that, the projects such as the Manila subway projects or north-south commuter lines would be further discussed for realization. With regard to the Mindanao peace process, Japan has a long supporter to that. And then I have engaged in various projects such as road construction, irrigation, or human resource development, and also have sent staffs to the IMT, International Monitoring Team. And the last couple of months' siege of Malawi has an impact on that process, but the conclusion of the Malawi issues would be a very milestone event. And I would like to applaud the efforts of the Philippine government to conclude that Malawi siege case. And then Japan is considering the way forward, how to support the rehabilitation or reconstruction of Malawi. Then, with regard to the anti-illegal drug measures, this is, we recognize that it's a priority area of the Philippine government, and it takes time to address it. And we have sent a mission to formulate the facility enhancement or human resource development to that end. Lastly, security and counterterrorism measures. We have already a series of concrete equipment, such as patrol boats to the Philippine Coast Guard, or high-speed boats, or counterterrorism equipment to the National Police, and so on. And maybe in the future, in the near future, we may be able to announce to you a couple of turnover ceremony for that equipment. And also defense equipment as well. Recently, our 2 defense ministers get together in Clark in the margin of the ADMM Plus. And then since based upon the agreement of the defense equipment transfer in force since last year, we have handed over already the 2 training aircrafts this year, and then 3 more aircrafts will be transferred to the Philippines. And also, we should be reminded that when our escort ships, Izumo, stopped over in the Philippines, we had the honor to receive the president's visit to that. Lastly, two leaders would expect to discuss regional issues such as DPRK or Southeast Asia, South China Sea, or other regional cooperation, which would be discussed in the ASEAN-related leaders summit meeting. But overall, Japan has a strong position of supporting the chairmanship of the Philippines. So Japan welcomes the president's visit, and then we look forward to seeing that this visit will further enhance our bilateral relationship. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po.
MPC question, Celerina Del Mundo, Manila Shimbun.
Good morning. Sir, I just want to ask, will the President be meeting with the Emperor during this visit?
As I said, that so far the only public announced schedule is the summit meetings between Prime Minister Abe and President. Other schedules are still being worked out, and then that will be will be publicly made available in due course.
Mm-hmm. And are we expecting any agreement to be signed during the President's visit to Japan, like for the infra projects?
As I said, that I cannot prejudge on the outcomes or things. But as I said in detail, that there are various areas that the 2 leaders have already discussed. And building upon that discussion, we would like to see some kind of outcomes. But I cannot prejudge about that at this moment.
Okay, Pia Rañada, Rappler. Microphone, please.
Sir, you mentioned the Mega Manila Subway deal. Previously, the Transportation Secretary of the Philippines, Arthur Tugade, said that President Duterte and Prime Minister Abe are likely to sign the deal during the ASEAN summit in November. Is this pushing through?
As I said, that we have been discussing in detail various economic infrastructure projects, including the one you just mentioned. As I said, that so far 3 rounds of the cabinet ministers' joint committee on infrastructure development. But as I said, I cannot prejudge at this moment what exactly we can sign or pledge at this moment.
Okay. Raymond Tinasa? Bombo Radyo. Microphone, please.
Good morning, gentlemen. To the Honorable Deputy Chief of Mission of Japanese Embassy. So you mentioned of your support. You look forward to help the rehabilitation of Marawi City. In what aspect you look forward to help? In the infrastructure or in the livelihood of those affected?
Thank you for the question. So far, we have already provided some humanitarian assistance through the international organizations. But now we are in a different phase. And then we are in close contact with the Philippine government, which set up the interagency task force. And then we hear in details about the actual needs of it. I think there are various kinds of needs of it, such as the reconstruction of the communities or human resources and getting the people back to the communities and so forth. So based upon the needs assessment and the information provided by the Philippine government, we will look into what we can do.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, question, MPC, Mikael?
Good morning. My name is Mikael Flores of Nikkei. Kano-san, ASEC Bolivar mentioned that President Duterte will be meeting senior government officials from Japan and captains of industries. May we know who are these officials and CEOs that are being lined up to meet the president when he visits Japan?
I'm sorry to repeat once again my answer that other than the 2 leaders summit, which is already announced, the details are still being worked out.
Just a follow-up. If the CEOs or the officials cannot be announced yet, may we ask which industries are these CEOs from? If it would be okay to disclose that.
I don't have any specific information on that.
Thank you.
Okay, Lenes Kapanti? Pia, microphone. Thank you, Pia.
Good morning, sir. I understand Japan also has conflicting claims with China concerning uninhabited islands of Senkaku in East China Sea. So, in this regard, would the Japanese side advise the Philippine side on how to deal with? Excuse me. Would the Japanese side advise the Philippine side on how to deal with China?
I think that the issues is not entirely new. And then what we can say at this moment, we have been discussing regional issues, including the one you just mentioned on a couple of occasions at various levels. And what I can emphasize at this moment is that Japan and the Philippines share the common values, such as freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. And then we are very fortunate to have very concrete cooperation in various fields, including the ones I just mentioned, that enhancing the capabilities of the law enforcement agency or the armed forces of the Philippines, various fields. Other than that, also we share the importance of abiding by the rule of law, including the international law, including the UNCLOS, and then the basic principle of the peaceful settlement of international disputes, and so forth. So I don't think that we are not in a position to advise to others, but rather as strategic partners sharing the common values, such as those I mentioned, we would like to continue to discuss on those matters as well.
Okay, MPC question, Joseph
Thank you, sir.
Morong. Microphone.
For both spokes in Sec Bolivar, how big is the Philippine delegation going to Japan, and who are these people, sir?
From the information that I gather, we have a couple of course, cabinet ministers. Of course, Secretary Cayetano will be joining, including, I think, Secretary of Trade and Industry and the economic team primarily, because we want to reinforce the Japan-Philippines economic partnership.
That's about it. I know we have a full flight.
Why do you have a full flight? How many cabinet ministers are going?
I don't have the exact numbers
No,
with
we
me.
don't
but,
have the list. We don't have the list.
Aside from the cabinet ministers, sir, who else are going?
That I cannot give you. I cannot speculate on that. But the list is still with the protocol.
Yes, sir.
But all those who are going are essential to the trip.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Question, MPC? No more? MPC question for... Okay. Thank you, Deputy of Mission Minister Cano. Thank you, DFA spokesperson Bolivar. Question? Tina Mendez?
To Deputy of Mission Kano, may we know if Japan will at least encourage the Philippines on the issue of North Korea?
We already appreciate the and as ASEAN chair, the Philippines has led the sending a strong message in the form of the ASEAN joint statement, which deplores the recent activities, including the nuclear test or missile launch by DPRK. So we very much appreciate the Filipino leadership as a country, but also as an ASEAN chair, and we would like to continue to work closely with the Philippines, and then particularly towards the ASEAN-related leaders summit in November.
So this will be reiterated by the Prime Minister during the bilateral meet with President?
Well, I think that the DPRK nuclear issues is a serious concern, security concern for all of us. And then I wouldn't be surprised that the leaders would discuss on this matter.
Thank you, sir. To Secretary Abella,
Yes.
may we know how big is your plane going to Japan? An Airbus?
I cannot give you the dimensions of my plane.
I mean, to
But,
know if you
let
have
me just
like
check.
100.
No, we don't have the details of that yet.
So the delegation is like how many? 100 to
I
200?
cannot. The list is still with protocol.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, MPC, final questions? No more? Okay, thank you, Deputy of Mission Minister Cano, DFA spokesperson Bolivar, Presidential spokesperson Ernesto Abella.
Sir, I defer to you first.
We have now NCRPO. Yes.
You can. But you can stay.
Okay, thank you. We have now NCRPO Chief Albayalde, sir.
Kayo na po. Yeah, whatever.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. To Secretary Abella, sir. To our distinguished guests.
Yeah. Meron daw.
Members of the Malacanang Press Corps, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today I'll be giving an update on the National Capital Region Police Office's security preparations on the two events happening this November in Metro Manila. One is the UNDAS 2017 and the 31st ASEAN Summit from November 12 to 14, 2017. Our UNDAS preparations A total of 5,355 police officers from NCRPO will be deployed to secure the 82 cemeteries, 21 columbaria, 182 churches, 75 bus terminals, 2 seaports, and 4 airports in Metro Manila, augmented by 3,704 barangay tanods, 9,163 security guards, and 1,067 civilian volunteers. This is a total of 13,934 personnel joining forces to ensure the safety and security in the occasion of UNDAS 2017. Coordination has also been made with LGUs and other government agencies for the provision of fire trucks, ambulances, and health personnel that would attend to emergencies. Security patrols will also be conducted in residential areas to prevent akyat bahay and salisi incidents. We will also establish our advanced command post outside the Manila North Cemetery, and police assistance desks shall also be established in all cemeteries, ports, major bus terminals, churches, and other places of convergence. We will also have quick reaction teams on standby ready for deployment should any situation arise. We will also conduct information campaign through your help to provide warnings against any modus of criminal groups or against groups or individuals who may take advantage of the occasion, as well as things that are prohibited inside cemeteries. As early as now, we thank you for helping us on this task. We shall also deploy our skeletal force as early as November 30, and will fully deploy our personnel from October 31 to November 1, or possibly after November 2, until cemeteries and areas of convergence are back to normal routine. On the 31st ASEAN Summit, as of this time, our intelligence monitoring shows no clear or imminent danger on any planned terrorist attack that could disrupt this historic event, but the threat on terrorism remains due to the possible retaliatory attacks from threat groups supportive of the multi-ISIS and possible isolated atrocities from the CPP, NPA, NDF to embarrass the government. With this, we continue to strengthen our intelligence fusion with other agencies, as well as our target hardening measures, and we continue to conduct joint exercises with other law enforcement agencies to ensure our readiness in any eventuality. The Task Group Manila under my command is tasked to secure the venues, the routes, billets of our world leaders and delegates, and maintain public order during the duration of the entire summit. We will be securing 16 hotels, 5 venues, and the various routes where our delegates will be passing through. We have 5 task units: the billet, the route, the venue, public order, and anti-criminality. Each of these task units have their own commanders who will manage and directly supervise their personnel and ensure that they will carry out their specific tasks. We will be deploying a total of 33,086 police personnel. We will be augmented by police regions 1 to 5, Cordillera, and the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Our send-off ceremony will be on November 5. That will also serve as the final accounting of personnel, and the full deployment of our contingents will be from November 10 to 15, or until the last delegate depart our country. It is our prayers that as we have recorded zero crime incident with the 203 concluded meetings in NCR, this final event will be as peaceful and as incident-free as we complete the hosting of the 31st ASEAN Summit. We solicit the cooperation, patience, and understanding of the general public as we conduct checkpoints, temporary lockdowns on this occasion. We likewise ask the public to be actively vigilant and report to the authorities anything that is out of the ordinary. The PNP, on the other hand, shall remain under full alert status, and we will be on our toes until the end of the summit. We assure the public, both locally and internationally, that Metro Manila is safe and secured and is ready to receive our distinguished 22 foreign leaders and more or less 3,000 delegates who will be gracing our country for the 31st ASEAN Summit. Thank you and good morning.
Okay, MPC question first on ASEAN. Nel, UNTV.
Sir, ano po yung mga lugar na possible na i-lockdown temporarily?
Yung vicinity lang ng PICC, yung cultural center, at saka yung sa Sofitel. Yun basically ang mako-close yan. Probably from November 10, sarado na yan.
On ASEAN. Raymond Tinasa.
Good morning, General. Sir, I understand there will be groups, also the leftists, who will be conducting rallies during the ASEAN Summit. How will you secure or sanitize not them to be infiltrated or an infiltrator from the NPA and would sabotage the international event?
Well, that's part of our intelligence monitoring against these threat groups. No? As early as 2 months ago, na-monitor natin na mayroong mga rini-recruit nga na for rally, pero wala naman tayong na-monitor na armed group na involved dito. But then again, we have our intelligence operatives who are actually monitoring these threat groups.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Rose Novenario.
Good morning, sir. Sir, yung sabi nyo kanina, target nyo yung zero crime incidents. Paano po natin to gagawin maliban dun sa checkpoint, sa possible lockdowns po ng ibang lugar? Magkakaroon po ba tayo rito ng mga offline bakal o kung ano po yung mga anti-crime related activities po ng PNP? Maliban po dun sa ano kasi hindi na po kayo kasama dun sa illegal drugs campaign.
Yes, we'll be conducting police operations in all the critical areas here in Metro Manila. Yung tinatawag nating mga areas of concern, yung mga different enclaves also, yung na-identified natin na crime-prone. And of course, we have, or the Chief PNP has already approved the suspension of permit to carry firearms. That is from November 1 to 15. That's part of our target hardening measures actually.
Ano po yung mga lugar na tinutukoy po ninyong crime-prone areas po sa Metro Manila?
Unang-una, yung tabi ng airport, of course, we have to sanitize that. No? Yung sa may Parañaque area, yung sa may Quiapo, sa Baseco, ito yung mga nakikita natin na madalas na pinagtataguan ng mga criminal elements. And yung malaking enclave sa Maharlika, that's another.
Okay. Thank you.
MPC questions on ASEAN. Alvin Baltasar, to be followed by Tina Mendez.
Sir, when will you start implementing the full alert status? Kung i-implement ba natin yung full alert this coming undas, dire-diretso na ba yun hanggang sa ASEAN, sir?
Actually, dito sa NCR, since the Davao bombing incident last year, hindi kami nag-lift ng full alert status dito. That's why if you'll notice, all our personnel are 100% in attendance. Lahat ng leave namin, wala kaming in-approve except of course for the leave ng emergency at saka yung mga pumupunta ng abroad.
Tina Mendez.
Good afternoon, sir. May dedicated security team po ba sa grupo ni Madam Hanelet Avancenia kung ipapasyal niya ang mga ilang spouses?
Yes,
ASEAN Minister?
yes, we have separate security teams for the spouses.
How many teams po and how many
That's a
policemen are
separate
involved?
po yun. It will be handled by the Presidential Security Group.
So, saan-saang lugar po sila sasamahan at
That
paano i-secure?
hindi na-disclose sa amin yun. Doon yung kung saan-saan sila. Kasi pa-iba-iba usually. Alam mo naman yung mga babae, pa-iba-iba isip.
May may mga shopping po kayo.
Kaya ganun. Yun ang reason nila.
Sir,
Yun ang
may
reason
mga
nila.
shopping. Sir, may mga shopping areas bang pupuntahan?
Ang dami nag-react.
Sir, may mga shopping areas bang maaring samahan sila? Baka nung huli may mga last minute shopping ng mga spouses, baka meron ba
Yes,
kayo?
we're ready for any changes of actually kasi merong mga specific mga security forces namin. separate yon dun sa mga leaders. Kasi hindi naman all the time kasama yung mga spouses dun sa ano. And they have actually an organized tour. Hindi lang pa na-disclose yan sa amin.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Tina. Joseph Morong, GMA7. Microphone. Hindi, yun na. No. Yun na. Para dito sa side na yan.
Sir, you may want to backtrack your statement. I'm giving you a chance, sir. No? Anyway, sir, you mentioned security patrols in neighborhoods. How is this going to pan out? Like, in an operational sense, how are you going to do this? Kasi talaga namang rampant yung mga theft, no, usually, during, kasi nag-aalisan yung mga tao. Pero in light of, yung mga tokang operations na wala na, how are you envisioning the security patrols in neighborhoods?
Yeah, actually, we've been closely coordinating with our force multipliers, particularly with our barangay tanods, no? Dahil sila ang malaking makakatulong sa atin dito, especially now na wala naman tayong Oplan Tokhang na and we're not involved with the war on drugs anymore. So yung ating mga forces are now concentrated on yung tinatawag nating yan, yung mga incidents of riding in tandem, no, and of course solving the different crimes that were committed before.
So, sir, during that period, no, na nasa sa November 1, undas, we will see police going to neighborhoods and patrolling? Ano ba
Yes, patrolling to neighborhoods. This is to avoid yung mga akyat bahay because we know for a fact that this is a long weekend and usually yung mga kababayan natin will be going home to the different provinces, no? So that's what we usually do and we let the barangay tanods actually to patrol also in the different barangays.
Oh, sir, thank you.
Okay, MPC question on ASEAN pa rin. Celarina Del Mundo. Microphone, Joseph.
Sir, do you see any possible retaliation from this terrorist group from Mindanao, considering that this will be a big event, yung ASEAN? How are you preparing for that? Is that a concern?
Yes, that is one of the major concern actually. Yun ang posibilidad dito. There's always that possibility, no? Ang expect natin dito is yung mga supporters, not necessarily members, pero yung mga sympathizers or yung mga supporters. Kasi alam naman natin na wala ng leader yan, so there's a vacuum in the leadership. Ang mahirapan naman makarecover yan. So ang tinitingnan nandito yung mga supporters actually, ang tinitingnan natin. There might be some people, yung mga radical with radical mind, yun yung minomonitor natin, lalong-lalo na dito sa NCR.
Meron ba kayo specifically na group na namomonitor na nandito sa Manila?
Grupo wala. As I've said,
individual?
grupo wala tayong namomonitor. Individuals ang tinitingnan natin dito. Yes.
So meron na so far?
Wala pa tayong na-identify, pero meron tayong mga binabantayan. No? Pero wala pa talagang indications na talagang meron silang gustong gawin ng hindi maganda.
Okay, AC Nichols?
Hi, sir. Sir, may mga counterparts na ba tayo from the other countries na nag-express ng concern, security concerns, and how are you coordinating with them or how are they helping you in terms of yung security? May role ba sila?
First of all, yung mga security personnel, yung mga advanced parties ng mga leaders are already coming. No? Ilang beses na sila nakipag-coordinate. We conducted dry runs. Ilang beses na we had conducted 4 dry runs already with some of our counterparts. Yung iba naman with our foreign counterparts, tumutulong din naman sila sa pagbibigay ng information. No, we have this intelligence fusion not only locally but also with our foreign counterparts.
Pia?
Sir, just to clarify, yung 22 leaders po will all be arriving in Clark. Tama po ba?
Yes.
And they will all be billeted in Manila.
Manila, yes.
Okay. Tapos, sir, yung area where they will be traveling to, it's just concentrated in a certain area. Hindi naman sila pupuntang EDSA or QC or anything. Dito lang talaga.
No. Of course, they'll travel the NLEX, isa yon, from Clark to Manila. So there will be a temporary lockdown when they travel. Ang ano kasi dito, hindi naman sila sabay-sabay darating, no? So every time na may magta-travel ng foreign delegate, the NLEX will be temporarily closed. At after a few minutes, pag lampas naman niya, open na kagad yun. Basically, yung time gap is I think a few minutes, 15 minutes before, or yeah, mga 15 minutes and then 5 minutes after. Yun yung yun yung basically tinitingnan natin para hindi masyadong maabala yung traffic. Kasi as we observe last Sunday, talagang mag-create siya ng traffic sa mga toll gates.
So sir, which
Kasi
area?
we'll be closing the toll gates pag dadaan sila.
Sir, the part of NLEX po that's from Clark to Manila, yun lang po, yung that area will be closed
Yes, from Clark to
in
Manila.
certain
That's
time.
that one part lang.
Which days po will you expected arrivals of
We
leaders?
expect arrivals sa 11, merong 11, may 12. Merong probably morning ng pero probably merong 11 mas marami. Yes, the MMD will be giving the advisories on the traffic.
And sir, the same will happen when they leave for departures.
Yes.
Iko-close din po yung NLEX area.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, last
Although
question.
hindi naman kasi sila din sabay-sabay.
Last 2 questions on ASEAN. Tuesday New and Mikael. Microphone. Thank you.
Hi, Director Albayalde, sir. Sir, follow-up lang doon sa suspension of the PTC4. Will this be implemented nationwide or Metro Manila, Bulacan, and Pampanga lang?
No, it's regions 3 and NCR.
Regions 3 and
Yes,
NCR.
3 and NCR.
Okay. At bigyan nyo na lang, sir, ng advice. Yung may mga baril na in
Yes,
general.
I think that has already been announced, pero na-approve na nga ng Chief PNP. That was my recommendation sa kanya, and it was already approved that there will be temporary suspension of the permit to carry outside the residence ng firearms from November 1 to 15.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, Mikael.
General clarification lang sa arrivals ng mga leaders. Does that include President Trump? Will he also arrive in Clark and travel to Manila?
Yun ang hindi he might be coming in pero yun yung talagang arrangement. Yun yung talagang arrangement.
Sir, clarify, he might be coming from where?
No, pwede siya sa Clark, and they'll be probably bringing their own aircraft also. So yun yung isang doon sa kanya. Chopper, yeah. Pwede kasi they can go chopper, they can go by land. Yes. Clark arrival lahat yan.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, dun sa lockdown sa NLEX, you mentioned 15 minutes before the leader travels, right? So, does that mean all cars passing through NLEX, you'll be shutting down the
That will
entire
be cleared.
expressway?
Yes, clear lahat yon. Include no movement yun. Yes. It will be partially locked down, yes. Stop lahat yon. All the toll gates, walang lalabas doon.
Okay, last question on ASEAN. Tina Mendez, last question. Microphone, please. Thank you.
Kay Sir Bolivar po. Sir, related sa APEC in Vietnam, is there a bilateral meeting in the works between President Trump and President Duterte? Sidelines of APEC in Vietnam.
We are currently working out several bilateral meetings for the president, both requested from us and our own requests. But so far now, we cannot yet confirm kung sino-sino yung mga imi-meet niya. But of course, we are also working out a bilateral meeting between the president and President Trump here in Manila when he comes.
In APEC, sir.
Sa
Danang.
APEC, we still can't. I still can't confirm any of these bilaterals. There are several that we're trying to work out.
Offhand, sir, at least 5, can you please mention?
Sorry.
At least 5 countries, can you please mention?
If they're not confirmed, I can't mention them. Sorry. I don't have the information right now, but if I can confirm it, then I'll send you information.
Wait. It's Tina's turn. Wait, MPC. Tina.
Sir, doon naman sa ASEAN, sir, yung visit ni European Council President Donald Tusk, do we have details on this visit? We understand he is the guest of the chair of the ASEAN.
He is expected to participate in the special gala celebration of the 50th anniversary of ASEAN. There's also a commemorative summit, ASEAN-EU, because we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of ASEAN-EU relations this year. And he was invited by the president to attend the luncheon in honor of the East Asia Summit leaders and guests of the chair. So he was one of the two guests of the chair who were invited, including PM Justin Trudeau of Canada.
I see. What about the details of the meeting with the Mr. Trudeau and the president? Ano naman yung activities niya?
Basically, it follows the same pattern. PM Trudeau is expected to participate in the gala celebration. There's also there's an ASEAN Canada meeting, of course, in the works, and he was also invited, and I think he has confirmed attendance at the luncheon in honor of the guest of the chair.
Going back, sir, kay Mr. Tusk, Donald Tusk, how important is this meeting and activities between the president and the EU Council President in view of the recent tirades of Mr. Duterte against the EU? How important is this?
Well, yun nga, we note that we are celebrating 40th anniversary, so it's a milestone year between ASEAN and EU, which is one of the primary reasons why the president invited Council President Donald Tusk to Manila for the summit. It's a commemorative summit. And this is also in recognition of the fact that we have had a long-standing and strategic engagement with the European Union on several issues. And a bilateral meeting between the two presidents, I cannot confirm if that will happen, of course, but a meeting between the two presidents would go a long way in clarifying the issues that have been raised in the recent weeks.
Sir, last na lang again. Medyo curious, we're just curious, how is the DFA tempering the messages of the president? Like yesterday he said, you go to hell if you don't believe in what I'm saying. How is the DFA tempering the statements of the president if you are doing so?
Well, I cannot speak on behalf of the president. We have Sec Abelia for that.
On the DFA part, because
of course we provide the information that the president needs whenever he has foreign or international engagements. So that's how we brief the president on the breadth and scope of our bilateral or regional engagements with the leaders at his meeting.
Okay, thank you, MPC. Other issues or any statement, presidential spokesperson Abelia?
I have a few. On President Trump's Manila visit, U.S. President Donald Trump has expressed his commitment to the Philippine-U.S. alliance and his interest in developing a warm working relationship with President Duterte, which was expressed during his telephone conversation with the chief executive. We hope to see this as President Trump is set to arrive in Manila on the 12th of November, where he will join other heads of state in the special gala celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. President Trump will likewise attend the ASEAN-US Summit on November 13. Also, regarding Philippine passports. The Philippine passport with 10-year validity will be introduced beginning the 1st of January 2018. The Department of Foreign Affairs released yesterday, October 25, the implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act 10928, otherwise known as Act extending the validity of Philippine passports, stating that Filipinos aged 18 years old and older will be issued passports with a 10-year validity, while those under 18 will be given passports with a 5-year validity. There will be no price increase associated with passports with 10-year validity, and the passports remain at $950, similar to the cost of 5-year valid passports. This, along with the extension of the validity of driver's licenses, is part of the administration's efforts to deliver services benefiting Filipinos. Also, BJMP education behind bars. The Bureau of Jail Management and Penology has actually taken significant measures in developing the inmates by launching the Education Behind Bars program in Davao City Jail in partnership with Social Entrepreneurship Institute, SEI, and the University of Southeastern Philippines. Through the program, inmates can choose their courses related to agribusiness or information technology. Of the 300 inmates who were assessed by the USEP and SEI, 70 passed, and the entrance exam where 45 are males and 25 female inmates. We hope the project will be replicated in our 475 jails nationwide under BJMP. We're open to a few questions.
We have 10 minutes. Laila Salaveria. Microphone, please.
Good morning, sir. On the appointment of Lieutenant General Guerrero, sir, what was his edge over the candidates? Why did the President choose him as the new Chief of Staff?
Well, basically seniority. I defer to him.
Sorry, sir.
Well, just to answer, that's similar to the choosing of the Chief PNP on our part. Na yung seniority is one consideration, of course. Of course, yung ano yan, yung that's a position of trust and confidence. Isa yan, no? Pero basically, ang ano kasi diyan tinitignan is the seniority. Yun ang pinaka ano diyan. And they have this Board of Generals naman sa Armed Forces of the Philippines. Merong yan ng kinakandak na ano from among the generals, from among the candidates. They have this Board of Generals sa Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Okay,
go.
For spokesperson Abelia, sir, I asked that because Lieutenant General Guerrero will only be serving for 2 months before he reaches the retirement age. What does this mean for the consistency of policies and programs in the AFP, considering it's facing a lot of responsibilities with the terrorism threat and Marawi rehabilitation?
I believe it's a tactical move with the president, so I cannot fully explain the reasoning behind that, but we trust in his decision to do so.
Sir, are you not concerned that having this sort of revolving door policies might not result in the strongest armed forces leadership?
On the other, the personnel may be moving, but the policies remain constant. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laila. Joseph Morong.
Just to follow up, sir, how is this tactical move from the president, appointing somebody who's going to just sit into for 2 months?
That I cannot explain. We can find out about that. Thank you. No, honestly, because that is a very delicate, that's a very vital question, so it deserves a...
Do you think that his serving in Davao East Mincom factored in the appointment?
I'm sure that particular aspect plays a role.
Because?
Knowledge of the terrain, basically insights and operational, he has earned the president's trust regarding that matter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Pia Rañada.
Sir, in a recent survey, it showed from SWS that a growing number of Filipinos believe that drug suspects should be captured alive. It's now at 95%. Sir, how does this change how the administration will carry out its drug war, considering that the president's current order is if they fight, they have to be killed on the spot, shoot to kill, and not, for example, shoot to disable. So how will this affect this policy?
Well, as he has already transfer the responsibility of the campaign to the PIDEA. And the PIDEA has a particular way of doing things. I'm sure that it will be consistent with the policy of making sure that that all of these operations will be done in the best interest of maintaining law and order, and for the benefit especially of those of all involved.
So, sir, are you saying that the PTEA has been given instructions by the president to shoot to disable when the suspects fight back and not to shoot
I'm
to
not
kill?
saying that is the principle that has been given. However, as the president has said, he has full trust in how they do operations. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
thank you. Thank you. Last questions? Last question, Joseph Morong.
Sir,
Yes.
with regard to the rather colorful language of at least two cabinet, government officials, legal presidential advisor Panelo and Martin, is this a new way or level of discourse of this government, sir?
I wouldn't say if you listen to what's his name to the Secretary Panelo.
Wow.
No. If you listen to his interview with Karen Davila, he was saying actually the contested words were actually done after the formal interview was done. In other words, this was not intended, as you imply, a new level of discourse.
With regard to Secretary Martin's language.
I think it would be best to ask him regarding that matter. But again, I think it was done. It was done with the full intention. I think of it was basically connecting on a more, how do you put it? It was not basically a press interview. It was not done there. So it was it was done with the assumption that this was a more or less informal gathering. So it was not, again, it doesn't infer any new level of discourse, as you put it.
Okay,
Thank you.
last two questions. Rosa Venario and Lanesca.
Secretary, spokes. Meron po ba kayong idea kung bakit hindi po yata na-impormahan ng mas maaga yung Malacanang press corps tungkol po dun sa working visit po ni Presidente sa Japan?
I think some details were being made or being clarified regarding.
Sir, as is normal practice in these kinds of visits, there is an agreement between the Philippines and the other country, in this case Japan, to announce it simultaneously. And we cannot announce it without having to pin down the most important details. So, kaya po yun yung dahilan kung bakit it was announced yesterday, I believe.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, Lanesca?
Morning, sir. Follow up po with on Joseph's question about the language of this official, Secretary Andanar and Mr. Panelo. Is this using language concerning sexual innuendos acceptable to the as officials of the government? For the record lang, sir.
No,
Regardless if the conversation is informal or in a press conference, should government officials talk to people with
I don't think there's any law that says should.
Using these words?
That matter. However, I think we need to be able to see it in the light of these officials attempting to relate in a more personal manner with the intended audience.
Okay. Ms. Dana? A microphone, please. Joseph, pakiabot the microphone.
No, I just want to reiterate the question because I think it deserves to be asked. Is this acceptable behavior for the reasons that you have given so that they can relate to people in that way?
I suppose levels of acceptance are differ, and the cultural landscape continues to evolve. So there are certain levels of conversation that these are which is transforming the landscape. So if you're asking what is acceptable, then it's what may be. It all depends on what kind of standards you're asking.
And sir, I think the audience in that instance was a broadcaster and the OFW community. So you're saying that when the audience is this community, that kind of language is acceptable.
Ma'am, I am not implying any bias. I'm simply saying that apparently the secretary was trying to relate in a manner that seemed to him appropriate to the culture.
But the question, sir, was if such language was acceptable.
Ma'am, I'm not the judge of the acceptability regarding that matter.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dana. Thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Thank you, DFA spokesperson Bolivar. Thank you, Minister Cano. Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella, NCRPO Chief Albayalde. Thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and PTV.